In today's English lesson, I'm going to teach you how to speak English confidently for the rest of your life with 5 simple steps. If you are not confident or sure of yourself when it comes to speaking in English, then pay very close attention to all 5 of these tips. If you skip even one of these tips, it could be the reason why you cannot gain any sort of confidence when it comes to speaking in English. These 5 steps will be applicable to any situation that you find yourself in when it comes to communicating in English. In addition, I've been helping many people with their English over the years, and very soon I will be releasing a free crash course on how to learn English by yourself from anywhere in the world. If you'd like to go check out that free lesson, I will leave a link somewhere in the description below. Now, this first tip may seem really obvious, but most of you guys actually fail to do it, and that would be practicing English consistently. Now, when I say practicing consistently, I mean 7 days a week for 365 days throughout each year. Learning English needs to be a lifestyle. It needs to be something you can incorporate in everyday life. It cannot just be a phase or one thing that you do and then you stop doing. You need to do this consistently every single day as much as possible. Now, most of you really don't have any issue practicing consistently when it comes to reading, writing, or texting, and listening. Now, when it comes to reading, it's extremely easy to read social media posts that are only in English or to read articles online that are only in English. When it comes to writing, typing, or texting, it's also very easy to exchange messages with other native English speakers on language exchange applications or even just social media. When it comes to listening, this is the easiest thing you could possibly do consistently because most of the media out there is in the English language, or at least has a version in the English language. But if you haven't figured it out yet, the one skill that most people fail constantly to practice consistently is speaking. A lot of people will go through their life trying to improve their English by consuming lots and lots of media. They read a lot, they listen a lot, they even type and text a lot, but they never actually practice speaking out loud. They only say things in their head and compartmentalize it only in their head. And this is why it is so common that a lot of people develop these skills and understand English very easily and understand English and comprehend it very well, but they still cannot speak naturally or they still cannot speak fluently in the English language. Learning how to communicate well in English is like learning how to play a musical instrument well for the very first time, or learning how to kick a soccer ball or shoot a basketball well for the very first time. It's going to take tens of thousands of repetitions before you actually become really good at it and it becomes natural to you. It's pretty easy to get those tens of thousands of repetitions listening to English and reading English and even typing English, but it's not as easy to get all of those repetitions speaking English because speaking English is extremely unnatural to you at first because, of course, it's not your native language and we make sounds that your mouth is not trained to do. But just like learning how to play an instrument or shoot a ball in a certain sport for the first time and be able to do it well, you will need to speak English. There is no way around it. You will never, ever feel confident and natural expressing yourself if you do not practice this pivotal skill every single day. Even if it's minimal, it's small, I still challenge you to do it every single day no matter what. Now, this leads to tip number 2, which is getting feedback from native English speakers regularly. Now, it's crucial that you get feedback from native speakers because a lot of the stuff that you learn in a classroom or a book when it comes to learning English is not applicable to real native English speakers. A lot of the grammatical rules that you learn, and even a lot of the pronunciation that you learn, is not even used by native speakers like myself. This is why it's important to get feedback from a native speaker because we can give you context on all of the intangible or not so obvious skills in the English language when it comes to communication. Now, I hear a lot of people make the excuse that they do not live in an English speaking region and they cannot get proper feedback because they don't have access to native English speakers. Well, if you have access to the internet, then actually, yes, you do have access to many native English speakers. And you don't need to spend a lot of money to get a native English speaking tutor. There are free applications out there where you can have access to native English speakers and practice your speaking, typing, and texting and communication skills with them. A good one that I used in the past would be the application Hello Talk. I'm not even paid to promote it, but it is a pretty good app that is completely free. And you can go there and test out all of your language skills with a native speaker in the language that you want to learn. It is a language exchange app, so you may need to help a native English speaker learn your native language in return. And I will say you may also need to message a lot of different people in order to find somebody who is motivated and serious about helping you learn the English language. However, no matter where you live, it is absolutely free to use this application. So there really is no excuse for not being able to get feedback from a native English speaker. This leads to tip number 3, which is you need to speak very concisely and clearly. It is true that there are a lot of native English speakers out there who speak very fast. However, there are also a lot of native English speakers who speak very slow. When it comes to your communication style, you can take your time and speak slowly, concisely, and clearly. There is no need to rush your speech when you speak in English. It is completely acceptable. By slowing down, speaking concisely and clearly, and by taking the time to collect your thoughts, it's going to really help you have more confidence in articulating yourself. You can stop, think, and put yourself in an environment where you don't feel stressed out to express what you're saying. And this somewhat ties into step number 4, which is you should be using body language. Now, by using body language, it's actually going to make what you're saying much more clear to someone who may have a hard time understanding you. So, even if your current level of English is not very high, if you use body language as you're expressing yourself, it's going to help the other person understand you a lot more. You will probably also notice this by their body language. And when you notice them understanding what you're trying to say, it's going to make you a lot more confident throughout the entire conversation. You don't need to be perfectly fluent in sign language, but you should be able to use your hands and your body to some degree to help illustrate what it is that you're trying to communicate. Also, if you tend to present yourself with confident body language and open body language, this tends to translate into the way that you communicate as well, subconsciously, without you even knowing it. And this ties into the last tip, which is probably the most important tip, which is you need to stop caring. And when I say you need to stop caring, you need to stop caring about what other people think about your current level of English. Let me explain what I mean by this. Simply put, if you care too much about how people are judging you based on your current level of English, and maybe you think that you sound stupid when you're speaking, to another native speaker, this is what you seriously need to stop doing. First of all, most people that you speak to, not everybody, but most people will be mature enough to understand that English is not your first language. And for this reason, they are going to give you a lot of grace when you're having a conversation with them. They're going to have a lot more patience for you than they typically would with another native English speaker. Now, some people may have more patience than others when it comes to doing this. For example, if you're in Canada or maybe the United Kingdom, they may have a little bit more patience for someone who doesn't speak English as a first language versus in America, where people tend to be a little bit more ignorant to people who don't speak English as a first language. However, nonetheless, it is a valid reason why you should not be worried about judgment from most people when communicating with them. And second of all, even if someone was judging you for the way that you spoke English, you still have nothing to lose and everything to gain by practicing your speaking skills with a native speaker. All of this life experience that you're going through, all of this anecdotal experience is going to seriously help you move forward to improving your skills. It is also giving you feedback in one way or another. And quite frankly, at the end of the day, even if someone didn't like the way that you spoke in English, it does not matter in the grand scheme of things. Out of everything going on in your life, out of every single issue you could have, I would imagine that that should not be at the top of that list. And if you had a bad interaction with another English speaker, once you go to bed that night and they go to bed that night, and you guys go your separate ways and go on about your own lives, in the grand scheme of things, you'll both forget about it and none of it will really matter. So you need to stop caring about other people's judgment on your current level of English, as for one, people will have more patience than you probably think they would. And then for two, it doesn't actually matter in the grand scheme of things because you have nothing to lose, but everything to gain by practicing your English in real life situations. So, to recap the 5 tips to speak confidently in English for the rest of your life. Tip number 1, practice English consistently every single day and make sure you're exercising all of your English skills from listening and reading all the way to speaking, writing, and typing. By practicing every single day, it's going to make English more natural to you, which is going to make you feel a lot more confident. Tip number 2, get feedback from native English speakers regularly. When you're getting feedback from a native speaker like myself, you're getting feedback from the actual source of a fluent English speaker. Native English speakers will understand the intangible skills of English a lot better than a non-native speaker. Tip number 3, collect your thoughts and speak concisely and clearly. By slowing everything down, it's going to help you collect your thoughts in a non-stressful environment, and that will make you communicate a lot more confidently. Tip number 4, use good body language to communicate. Again, if you have open and strong body language, you'll actually start communicating more confidently, subconsciously, without even knowing it sometimes. And tip number 5, stop caring what other people think about your current level of English. You have everything to gain and you have nothing to lose. If you found this video useful, be sure to like the video to let the YouTube algorithm know that this video is useful for English learners. And if you have any questions at all about learning English, or if you want me to make a video about any topic in particular, be sure to leave a comment down below. It's great to understand how to speak confidently in English, but you should also know what you should be doing every day to practice consistently. If you want one easy exercise that you can do with 15 minutes per day to become fluent in English, be sure to check out this next video.